It starts with an ad for that poisonous malt liquor, Anaconda. But then we get into the story. 3 street hustlers meet with a shadowy figure. He accuses one of them of being an undercover. One hustler, Jimmy, starts hollering like a hit dog. The heat gets hot, Jimmy goes for his gun and gets chopped down. He dead. The detective arrives on the scene and IDs Jimmy as the brother of modern-day superhero, Black Dynamite. This means that the city is about to get turned upside down. We're finally introduced to Black Dynamite. We meet him on the downstroke. He's finishing up a 1, 2, 3 menage a quatre. Oh wait, I miscounted. There's more on the floor. Let's just call it a one-man orgy. With the ladies satisfied, it's time for Dynamite to get to work. Dynamite goes to collect on a debt. Mama at the door, money blocking, lying about her son being home. Dynamite drop kicks his way into the room. Before he began to ground and pound old Hattie Mae, the son appears. Fight time. Back, back, forward, down. Dynamite gets the dough. He returns the money to its rightful owner, a working girl named Honeybee. Dynamite been substitute pimping Honeybee and the girls because their pimp went missing. Turns out Dynamite had a small role in that. Dynamite retires to his office and Honeybee follows. She's got issues and grievances. There's a new drug on the street and it's got the little kids buzzing. Dynamite vows to rid the community of this drug and clean up the streets. While putting in some karate training, he finally receives news about the murder of his brother Jimmy. It comes by way of a phone call from his auntie. The news is delivered 1 part facts and 3 parts guilt trip. Auntie is quick to remind Dynamite that he promised to get Jimmy cleaned up and off the dope. Her yapping gets stuck in a loop and Dynamite hangs up on her. At the burial, one of Dynamite's associates hands him the only evidence that he could find, a bullet from the scene of Jimmy's death. Dynamite returns home to relax when some cats creep in through the back door. The lead invader comes around the corner to put Dynamite at gunpoint, but the chair is empty. It's a trap, as Dynamite now has them in the crosshairs. It turns out 2 men are not strangers. It's O'Leary, Dynamite's ex-CIA boss and fellow soldier from back in Nam. O'Leary is sympathetic about Dynamite's brother's death and wants Dynamite to join forces to get justice. Dynamite prefers to work solo and asks that O'Leary and his boys not get in his way. Dynamite begins his investigation. He drops into a club and the performer can't contain herself. He's there to meet up with his right-hand man, Bullhorn. Bullhorn has his ear to the street and tells Dynamite that his brother Jimmy was hanging out with some bad company. Bullhorn sends Dynamite in the direction of a small-time player, Cream Corn. When Cream Corn is paid a surprise visit by Dynamite, he jets for the exit. The pursuit goes through the neighborhood and ends up on the rooftop. Dynamite dangles Cream Corn over the edge in an effort to make him talk. Corn gives up the name and address of Chicago Win, another hustler. Dynamite goes to Chicago's hangout and gets an icy reception. Chicago denies responsibility, but that ain't enough. He's downright disrespectful to Dynamite and his late brother. He talks his talk and thinks he sent Dynamite off with his tail between his legs, but it's really just the beginning of the end for Chicago. Dynamite sets off a locked door party, and not the freaky fun kind of locked door party. This is the kind where you're locked in a room with a martial arts expert chin checking you with his foot. Chicago slithers his way out of the place and makes his getaway. Dynamite tags in Bullhorn and goes after Chicago. During the chase, Chicago was so busy looking over his shoulder that he lost control and drove over a cliff. We drop in on a community meeting. Activist Mahogany Black is telling the folk that they need to hold these slick-talking politicians accountable. Sitting Congressman Monroe James takes the podium. All it takes is those well-proven buzzwords: vote, Jesus, hope, and the crowd eats up what he's serving. Dynamite gives Mahogany advice that sometimes you have to hide the message in the music when it comes to educating our folk. Mahogany disagrees. Mahogany gonna stay the course since what she's doing ain't working. Dynamite follows up with the revolutionaries. These revolutionaries don't exactly validate confidence in the movement. They might be down for the cause just to get some draws. They try to test Dynamite's commitment to the cause only to get it turned around on themselves. Then Dynamite chops wraps it up with the head man in charge, Saheed. Dynamite asks him whether he can ID the bullet used to kill Jimmy. Saheed tells him that it's got the government's fingerprints all over it. This leads Dynamite back to visit his old boss O'Leary. O'Leary gives Dynamite some inside information. His brother Jimmy was actually working undercover. O'Leary gives Dynamite some intelligence on the prime suspect, crime boss Raffelli. O'Leary offers Dynamite his old job. Dynamite accepts. Meanwhile, Raffelli has called in a hit on Dynamite. Dynamite gets ambushed at his home, taking a bullet to the shoulder. He's taken to the hospital, and Dynamite is up in there doing titty ball examinations. Before the movie goes from rated R to rated X, the doctor breaks things up. Now Dynamite at 30% is like a normal man at 100%. He gets an early discharge. He runs into Mahogany in the hospital corridor. She's accompanying a young brother who has OD'd from that new drug on the street. Dynamite shows some general concern, but Mahogany is still treating him like a wet food stamp. Dynamite manages to lower her defenses just a little bit, and the two go for a walk. Mahogany shows Dynamite the pitfalls in the community, highlighting that poisonous malt liquor, Anaconda. She then takes him by the orphanage. It's bad enough that life has given these kids the short end of the stick, but these little shorties in there fiending for a bump. Dynamite is rattled and vows to escalate his fight to clean up the neighborhood. He drops Mahogany off at Roscoe's Chili and Donuts. Before he drives off, he has to prevent an attempt on Mahogany's life. It ain't safe in them streets for Mahogany. He has Mahogany out at Honeybee's place until he can clear the streets. Next, we peep a State of the Union for pimps. Pimpin' done got caught up in a bear market. The tricks don't want to trick, and the money's no longer thick. I mean, goddamn, Captain Kangaroo can barely keep his hose fed. Pimpin' Black Hand Jack ain't down with a unified front. He affirms that he's gonna push that narcotica to make his ends meet. Black Dynamite crashes the meeting and lets Black Hand Jack know that that's going to be a losing tactic because he's shutting down the drug market. You push drugs, you just added Dynamite as a sworn enemy. Dynamite goes to war. Gunfights in the streets. Wiretaps on Raffelli and crooked politician Monroe James. Dynamite catches Raffelli slipping. He lifts his car up, and drops it down. He dead. They rob politician Monroe's safe, and now they've got a paper trail of his crimes and secrets. It's over. The neighborhood is safe, and drugs have been eradicated from the streets. It's safe for the women and children. Little girls outside jumping rope and shit. It's safe from the drugs, but it might not be safe for reckless players though. Dynamite almost caught a case, a paternity case. Eject. Mahogany and Dynamite grow closer. They take a nightcap back at her place. She tells Dynamite that he must be tripping if he think he's gonna get the draws just based on his reputation. She was raised to be a lady, a woman of substance, character. Her father was in her life. She's God-fearing and all that. Dynamite got them draws. The wiretaps reap rewards. Dynamite and his crew learn of an incoming shipment. They got the drop-off location narrowed down to 2 warehouses. They break into the first warehouse and overpower the workers. They find a handful of drugs, but the score is a lot lighter than expected. They apprehend the man in charge and question him on the whereabouts of the rest of the shipment. The cat stands his ground and refuses to talk. Dynamite's associate, Smoke, administers a dose of truth serum to the cat. Dude starts to spill the beans. He speaks of an operation, Operation Kansas. It's some sort of plot targeted at the brothers. Then, old boy croaked like Kermit. He dead. Guess old Smoke must have gave him a little too much of that serum. So the crew finds the rest of the shipment. But all it is cases and cases of that Anaconda malt liquor. Now for Smoke, it's Christmas come early, cause he loved that Anaconda shit. Dynamite is dumbfounded that there wasn't a shitload of smack in those crates. The guys leave the warehouse defeated, except for Smoke. He loading crates and crates of that Anaconda malt liquor into his ride. The crew retires to a restaurant and try to make sense of their disappointing discovery. They brainstorm a Rube Goldberg of questions and answers to figure it out. They go from Operation Kansas to M&M's to Mars to some Greek and Roman mythology to area codes to snakes to the inventor of rock and roll, Little Richard. After that whole verbal runaround, they come up with an epiphany. Anaconda malt liquor will make your dick small. Oh shit, gotta go check on Smoke. They get to Smoke's place and it's a goddamn crying shame. That man lay it out on the couch with his shits looking like a dead roly-poly. He dick looked like a burn up Cheeto. Bullhorn was about to do the honorable thing and put that cat out of his misery, but Smoke fell over first. He dead. Dynamite and his crew head back to the warehouse to destroy what's left of the malt liquor. Dynamite goes inside to oversee the destruction. Inside, he's met by O'Leary. Yeah, O'Leary is down with the bad guys. He even confesses to having a hand in Jimmy's murder. He fires shots at Dynamite, but Dynamite fools him with the underrated play dead trick. He raises up and shoots O'Leary. O'Leary, he dead now. A voice comes through O'Leary's walkie-talkie. The voice on the other end is a voice familiar to Dynamite. It's the evil Dr. Wu. Dynamite rounds up his crew and they head to Dr. Wu's hangout, Kung Fu Island. They get there and begin to execute their plan. Well, maybe not. They advance towards Dr. Wu's compound as Wu watches on his monitor. They get inside and one brother starts talking about his future plans. Never make future plans in a movie. It's a bad omen. And like clockwork, that brother gets shot and a carnage begins. Creamhorn and Saheed take damage. Others die. As Dynamite tries to regroup, the bad guys fill up the room. Bullhorn decided to take on the challenge to engage Dr. Wu and lost his head. Like literally. Bullhorn lost his head. It ain't on his shoulders no more. He dead, of course. Dr. Wu sends his lackeys to soften up Dynamite, and then we get the one-on-one confrontation. Wu versus Dynamite. Wu is winning. Dynamite is winning. Wu breaks out a new style. Dynamite breaks out a newer style. It's like Kool Moe Dee versus LL Cool J in there. Dynamite gets the best of Wu, and Wu has to retreat to safety. Wu sends his number one lackey out to slow down Dynamite's pursuit. Dynamite makes quick work of that cat, pulling his eyeball right out of his skull. As Wu is working in his lab, that cat's eyeball splats right in front of him. Dynamite catches up to Dr. Wu. Dr. Wu comes clean and reveals the big plan. Dr. Wu was commissioned by the government to create some Incredible Hulk big dick pills. Instead, he found that his formula did the opposite. It created Ant-Man little dick pills. So the thinking was, if you can't make your dick bigger, then make their dick smaller. The government took Dr. Wu's formula, put it in the Anaconda malt liquor, and sold it in the black community. Dynamite punches Dr. Wu some more, and then burns down his compound with Wu in it. Dynamite and Cream Corn head back to the States. They make a beeline straight to the White House. Dynamite parachutes from the chopper, leaving Corn to navigate. Corn navigated the chopper right into the Secret Service's surface-to-air missile. Cream Corn, he dead. On the ground, Dynamite makes short work of the Secret Service and enters the halls of the White House. He whips some more security and finally makes his way into the Oval Office. He gets to confront the head man behind all of this mess, Old Tricky Dick. Tricky makes no denials of his treachery, and Tricky Dick, he wants some of that. Poter's got mad skills. He goes toe-to-toe with Dynamite. Tricky Dick gets kicked through a wall, but old Dick keeps coming and coming and coming until he can't get up no more. The First Lady comes out waving heat at Dynamite and gets her lightweight ass kicked into a china cabinet. Then Dick pops back up for more action. He's holding his own against Dynamite. Next, the ghost of Abe Lincoln got in on the action. Now, I know how Abe Lincoln used to roll, so I thought he was gonna help Tricky Dick. But instead, he assisted Dynamite in beating Dick again. Dynamite blackmails Tricky Dick with the photos that he stole from Raffelli. He threatens to expose Dick if he don't start doing right by black folk. Tricky Dick succumbs. Dynamite makes the heroes walk, but then his conscience interrupts his exit. He goes back and apologizes to the First Lady for kicking her little ass into the china cabinet. Mahogany runs into the frame and professes her devotion for Dynamite. And as Mahogany clutches his leg, Dynamite recites his hero's declaration. Aye, First Lady, he got a free leg. Go ahead and get you some too.